Loach plays a 59-year-old joiner who's struck down with illness, a heart condition, and then has to face the cruel system that is what is welfare now. And he's been tipped for an Oscar alongside Tom Hanks and Brad Pitt. Brad's a little busy at the moment, but thankfully Dave has been able to come here.
Yeah, they're really nervous about it as well, I can tell you, Tom Hanks and Brad Pitt. Thank you first of all for inviting me. This is the first Labour Party conference I've ever been to, and it's nice to see you all here, because if the mainstream media anything to believe, I thought I'd come here and you'd all be fighting each other with pitchforks, but you seem to be all here and all focused. I was lucky enough to get a chance to work with, I believe, one of the greatest directors this country's ever had, Ken Loach. Him and Paul Lafferty, who wrote this film, and he's wrote a lot of things with Ken. They give a voice to people that don't have a voice, and I think that's very important. We filmed I, Daniel Blake, in Newcastle last October and November for 9 weeks in Newcastle in a place called Byker, which incidentally was where I spent my childhood. It's a different Byker now than what it was when I was a kid. It's a working class area. I remember, it had a community. I never felt deprived. There was people who were together, and they were all. And now Byker has been forgotten, and the people that are living there are trying to cling on, but it's getting harder and harder, And it's a thing of taking hope away from people. I've been very lucky because I've been a stand-up comic, and I've worked for years. I've worked 30 years as a stand-up comic. I've never had to claim benefits, and I've been very lucky. And doing this film actually opened my eyes to how horrific it is. Ken works in a different way than any director. He never gives you the script. Basically, all I knew, I was Daniel Blake. I'd had a heart attack. I'd been looking after my wife who had a mental illness. She died. I had a heart attack, and I had to claim for state benefit. Then what happens is you get bits of the script as you go along. So I lived Daniel's life. And the first thing he said to me on the week before we started shooting, he said, I want you to fill in this. And it was a form for assessment and support, which was 52 pages long. And he said, fill that in. And like any actor, I went, could the props not do it? And he went, no, I want you to do it. And I know why he wanted me to do it, because it was a nightmare. And I got halfway through and I thought, I can't do this. So I can't imagine what it must be like for somebody who's sick and has to fill this in with the stress and the fear of filling it wrong or not getting the points and losing the benefit. And it opened my eyes. I didn't know anything about sanctions, and I thought to myself, this has got to be wrong. And as I filmed Daniel's life, I got to realise that there's been lots of negative publicity being spouted out in the media all the time about not only unions. They've changed the working class to fight against each other, that unions are bad, that the National Health Service is failing because it's set up to be failing, to turn public opinion against it. Also, the one that I think is we should be proud of our welfare state. And what it's done is it's made working class... because it benefits everybody. And they've turned working class people against each other by making people who are working go, I'm not going to pay for layabouts and scroungers. And that's just a mantra that's been going around. And if you see the film, or those who have seen the film, Daniel could be your father. He could be your grandfather, your uncle. Katie could be your sister. She could be your daughter. Ordinary people, not scroungers, ordinary people who need help. And, I talk to friends about this and they go, well, it's always, the left. They're always going on about, rich and they're jealous because people are making. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with making wealth. There's nothing wrong with getting on in life. But I think you have a moral duty to send the lift back down. You have to. And I don't think you can argue against that. I don't think if you're a human being, how can you argue against that? And I remember Ken said to me, it was the first film I've ever done. This was the first film I've ever done, and he said to me on the first day shooting, he said, "There's no music in this film. This film is very stark. It's very bare. So with no music, it gives the actors nowhere to hide. That the music doesn't tell them how to feel. So young Katie's performances have to be spot on and honest to get through what you want to say." And he said, all you have to do in every scene is listen to each other. And if you listen to each other, you will find the truth. And if you find the truth, you will find the honesty. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, he's a wise man, Ken Loach, because I think that is a true thing. We don't listen to each other. We don't. All of us don't listen to each other. We pretend to listen to each other. I think sometimes politicians are the worst who pretend to listen, but they don't. And I think if we started listening to why people are angry and why people are scared, really, really engage and listen and know why they feel like they do, I think, we'd sort a lot of our problems out. Because I want to say one thing. If we don't start listening to people, there's going to be a big shitstorm coming, honestly. And that's how I feel we need to get it together. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. And of course, any of us who are healthy, ill health or disability could be round.